Very good evening, everyone. Time is 7 o'clock. So let's start today's session. At the outset, on behalf of MTC Global family, let me welcome all of you for today's workshop on academic writing and question paper preparation. And we have with us Dr. Shalini ma'am, who is the resource person for this particular workshop. And it's my pleasure to briefly introduce ma'am because we have many participants, those who had joined our earlier programs also, but we have few, okay, those who have those are new for ma'am also, and ma'am also may not be knowing them. So first time interaction, and Dr. Shalini Agarwal ma'am, an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and presently working as a professor of finance at Chandigarh University, Mohali. She has a total 18 years of work experience representing industry and academia. She is an MBA with specialization in finance and PhD in the area of risk management practices in banking sector of India. She has more than 40 research papers published in SCI, Q1, Q2, Scopus, and ABDC, A, B, and C listed journal. Her case studies are published in IIM Ahmedabad Case Center. She has also authored 2 edited books published by Taylor and Francis. She has completed 3 funded research projects, 2 with IIM Ahmedabad and 1 by IMS Ghaziabad. She has conducted more than 100 workshops on data analysis using time series data in SPSS, eViews, and Art Studios. And her experience and achievement continues. And so it's my pleasure to briefly introduce ma'am. I won't take much time because we have 1.5 hour session today and tomorrow. And welcome, ma'am. Very good evening to you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And please take over the session.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. Very good evening to one and all present here. So let me share my screen first of all. Okay, somebody's writing something. The moment I'm starting, but okay. So let me start with this. So the today's session is on questionnaire design. This is a very, very important and a critical topic. Please be with me all the time. So let's understand. So how to develop a questionnaire. So this is the main topic of today's session. And so let me tell you one thing. When we are doing a study, right? So development of questionnaire is very, very important. Am I audible and my screen is visible to all? Before starting with this, let me understand this. Please raise your hands in the meantime. Yeah. So you
Yes,
people,
ma'am.
yeah,
It's
okay.
audible.
Fine. So questionnaire design. Okay. So what is a questionnaire basically?
It is a tool used to get the response from the respondents.
Yes, very right. So, Acha, before starting with this, let me understand. Are you people comfortable with English and Hindi, both the languages? Please write.
Ma'am, English will. Yes, ma'am. I can understand English, not Hindi.
Okay, fine. Okay. So questionnaire design is very, very important. But before that, let me tell you, you have to have a model. If we are doing a primary data, if we are doing a study, based on primary data, right? So we need to have a model. Take a minute, let me just, okay, we need to have a model. So what I'm trying to tell you is, like, if we are going to design a questionnaire, so for that we have to have a model. Let me open one of my papers. So let me open that paper of mine and let me show you this. So this is one of my papers that got accepted only 3 days back. That is an A category journal. So let me show you how do we design questionnaire with the help of this. So let me take you to my paper. This is one of my papers, right? So I'm going to show you the model. Look at this. This is a model, right? So based on this model, you have to construct a questionnaire, right? Normally, we design the questionnaire from a primary study, right? So I hope you understand the difference between the two. The primary study, we understand the difference between the primary study and secondary database study, right? Primary study is when we collect the information or the data for the first time, right? And secondary is when we collect the data that is already in existence, right? So when we collect the information or data for the first time, we need a questionnaire. You all will agree with me, right? So there are two types of study, primary study and secondary based study. And when we collect the information or data for the first time with the help of questionnaire, it is called as a primary study, right? And secondary based study, so when the data is already published, for example, stock exchange data, right? So how to design this questionnaire, right? Every paper every paper that we are going to write, first thing, we need to set the objective, right? Objective, once our objective, once our objective is set, so we design the question. I'll take a live example here. So let's say there is a topic that is called as a green bonds. I want to write a paper on this topic that is called as a green bond. Green bonds pay. So what you have to do is you have to see the previous papers, previous studies that has been conducted on green bonds and have to see what is the research gap. This is a little technical topic that we are going to talk about today. That is to design the question. Let me start with this again. What I have told you right till now is there are two types of studies, that is based on primary data study and secondary database study. When we collect the information for the first time through questionnaire, it is called as a primary data study. Primary data study, right? So for primary data study, we need to set our objective. You will agree with me? When we go for a primary data study, so we set the objective. Once an objective is set, so it means objective is set like this. So let's take an example. This is my objective. On the basis of the objective, I have designed the model. Let me show you the objective of the study. Let me Okay. These are the objective of my study for this model. Let me take you to this. Let me write it here. Let me take you. Okay. So my objective is based on these variables. I want to try to find out the relationship between the different variables. Can you see the different kinds of the variables that I have taken into this paper? This is my objective, right? And I want to write a paper using these variables. What are the variables? Sense of scarcity, sense of uncertainty, social media addiction, religious value, and this, all this. Here I have used the moderation effect as well, and the moderation effect as well, right? Here the gender is playing the role of a moderator. Now, how did I come to know about these variables? How do I come to know about these variables? Through literature review. Literature review helps me to understand the research gap. It means what? It means I have to see the previous studies, right? And then I have to find out the variables like this, which have not been studied earlier, right? So this is what I have to do, right? And on the basis of this, I will be developing my questionnaire. On the basis of these variable, I'll tell you how do we go for it. Ek karke we'll talk about all the things, but I'm just giving you an overview of this is how we have to design. I hope, are you able to understand? Please, what my style of teaching is like, whenever I'm teaching, so I wanted the participants to raise their hands in between if they're able to understand, right? So if they're not able to understand, they can also tell me about it. So let me repeat this again. So what I have told you is like, I want to write a paper using these variables, and I have tried to find out the relationship in my paper, right? On the basis of this, I have set these objectives. I try to find out the relationship between this, and I have tried to find out the objective. I have set the objective. Now, how do I find out these variables? You know, it is not that easy to set these variables. You have to find out the variables from the previous papers, previous studies that has already been conducted, right? So how do we go for that? So we will be talking about a live example today. So let's say there is a study on green bonds, right? This is one of my students' paper on green bonds. I'm giving you a live example, right? And this is what the model that we have made, and our paper got accepted on this basis, green bonds. How do we go for it? Let me tell you this, right? People, from a scratch, we are going to start. So be with me all the time. So what is the first step? What is the first step? Let me write down here. You go for the literature review. Right. Now you have decided that you are going to write a paper on green bonds. So let's say my intention is to write a paper on green bonds, right? So what is the first step that I have to see? I have to do the literature review, right? How to go for it? Let me take you to that. So this is a Scopus website. So this is a Scopus website. So what we will be doing into this is, I have already written the title here, green bonds. Let me do it again so that you are also able to understand. Let me open this again. I want to do it exactly with scratch, right? So that you people understand this. So what I have done is, you know, green bond is a very latest topic. So studies have already been conducted, but still we want to work on something new on the topic that is called as a green bond. So what is the first step? The first step is we have to find out So what is the first step? The first step is we have to find out from the literature, where is the gap? That gap we can understand only and only with the literature review, right? So I have put here the topic that is called as a green bond here. So you can see that I've got 1209 documents, right? So green bonds, it's a very latest topic. It is not very old. This topic is not very old, right? So, यहाँ पे we will limit our study. यहाँ पे years they have mentioned. So let's narrow down our research. What you have to do is you have to read all the papers. Whatever the papers on the whatever papers will come in this, you have to read it, right? So what I have done is I have taken the time period from 2022 to 24 because you can see there is so many papers. So what I have done is I have narrowed down the time period 2022 to 2024. So what I have done is I wanted only this topics that is in business management and accounting. I wanted only the articles. This is, this Scopus website or Web of Science. These are the two most important databases, and you all should, if your institution is having it, that is very good. But if your institution is not having it, so you try to collaborate with people. You try to collaborate with people around the world, I would say. Not around the world, then within the India, with those people who is having the Scopus database, right? Only then you will be able to write good papers. So what I have done is, so I have narrowed down my scope, and let's see how many papers we have come. 145, right? Here bhi you can see the number of papers is too much. So, but anyways, what you have to do is you have to, for your research, what you have to do is you have to read all the papers. This is the most important thing, right? Everybody has to read all the papers. So there is another way also. This is one way of searching for the literature review with respect to green bonds. So now we are talking about the green bonds, so we will be talking green bonds only. So another way is go to Google Scholar. So what you have to do, I'll go scratch-wise Google Scholar. You just write down here Google Scholar. Google Scholar also is having a collection of papers, almost everything. So you type here as green bonds. So let's say, so there are too many papers that have come up. Either you read these papers or you read the papers from Scopus database. Now there is an advantage if you open up this Google Scholar. What is the advantage? That sometimes you get these PDF files, right? They work the same way. Scopus database, Web of Science, or Google Scholar. But Google Scholar is you have to be you have to do more of the hard work. But one advantage of using Google Scholar is that you get PDF files out here, because some of the people, they have put their PDF files. Can you see to this? Right? So this is the benefit. So try to search from here as well. यहाँ तक सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Okay. So, now this is the main task for you. Don't go for very previous papers. So let's understand. यहाँ पर let me click here since 2020. I have clicked here since 2020. The papers will come now. This much only papers, right? So now, what is your main work? You start reading these papers. You start reading all these papers, right? So I'll tell you, the today's topic is, I'll tell you how to develop a model. So today's topic, let me write it here again, once again. So the today topic is, I will develop a model, and design a question. So this is what we have done in our paper on green bonds. This is the model that I'm doing right now. I have already made this model and my paper is almost accepted, right? So what is the first step I told you is go for the literature review. And literature review, how can you go for it? Either Scopus database, Web of Science, or Google Scholar. And you know what is the advantage of the Google Scholar? Sometimes you find PDF files, right? So sometimes you find the PDF files. So you do not need to search for the paper. So you can find out that paper here itself, right? So now what is my role now? So what I will start doing is, I will, let me take you to this as well, because unless and until I will not be taking you to these papers, you will not understand what I'm trying to say, right? So let's see this first paper. Let's see the at least the abstract of this paper, right? So let's read the abstract, because if I will not read the abstract in front of you, you will not understand what I'm trying to tell you. Because if I have the model made in front of me, but I wanted to tell you how did I make this model. So we have to read the abstract of some of the papers, not the whole of the papers, but some of the papers, right? So this paper, this first paper, is a systematic literature review. You can see this. So this first paper that I've opened is based on the systematic literature review. So this paper must not be having any model. What we are trying to look for into the papers now, right? Now we are doing the research gap. Please understand. Now we are doing the research gaps. We are trying to, what we are doing right now is we are reading the papers, the previous papers, right? And try to see the models they have made. This is what we are doing. So let me tell you one thing. So what we are trying to see when we are doing the literature review, so hum kar kya rahe hain? What we are trying to see. Now let's see. This paper is already published, right? With these variables, this paper is already published, right? So it will go into the, if somebody wants to work onto this, this type of variables. So this paper is already published, right? So what the author will do? So the author, if I have to write a new paper now, please try to understand what we are trying to see in the literature review, right? When we are seeing these papers, when we are reading these papers, so what are we looking for? We are looking for the models. We are looking for these kind of models in the papers. The variables, the previous papers, the previous authors, they have already done. So let's say if I have to work again for a new, I have to find out some new variables. So these are the old variables now. So if I have to, so what will I do? What I will do is I'll copy this model and I'll paste it in one of my file. What I'm trying to tell you is, just listen to me carefully. What I'm trying to tell you is, like, I have to find a new variable, right? So what I will do is, this is my old paper, right? This paper has already been written. So let's say there is another model as well. So I'm just giving you an example, right? Right now I'm giving an example. Let me show you. So this is my another student paper. Let me open this and I'll tell you what I'm trying to tell you. Just let me open this paper, right? Theory of plan. Let's say this is another paper. Let's say, right? I know this is a different paper, but I wanted to tell you something. What I'm trying to tell you is, like, my students also, they do a mistake, so they do not understand when I tell them, my at least my PhD students, right? So what you have to do is, let's say you find this model first. So what you will do is you will copy this model. Let's say this is another model for another study. So what you will do is you copy this here. You copy this here, right? This is the first model. This model is already old. This is from the literature review that you have got. Let's say this is the second model that you have got. Let me open another paper as well. So let's see what is there in another paper. Let me open this. This is Prerna's second paper. Gaming. Okay. So let's say you have taken out the models, at least 4 to 5 models, right? So let's say you have got around 10 models, let's say. You know? So from these 10 models, what will you understand? You will understand which variables has already been used on this particular topic. Let me repeat this. Let me repeat this. So what we are doing, what I'm trying to tell you is so that the things becomes clear to you. So when you are doing a literature review, so what you are trying to do, because it's a primary study. So primary study say you have to make a questionnaire. For the questionnaire, you have to make a model, right? So what you will be doing when you are doing the literature review, so what you are trying to see is the models used or the constructs. These are the variables: sense of scarcity, sense of uncertainty, panic buying behavior, gender. What is this? These are the variables the previous authors they have used. So what you will be doing is at least 10 to 15, jitne bhi, whatever models that you get, please note down on one word file. Note down all these things in a one word file. From here, you can make your own model and try to see which is the variable that has not been used, and you have to use those variables, right? So this is what the meaning of the literature review is. Is this point clear to all of you? This is the most important point when you are doing a questionnaire, when you are doing the literature review. Right? Okay. So this is the most important thing, right? When we are doing the literature review. So from here, we will be developing our own model for the new study now, right? So this is what is required when we do this thing, right? Now let's move again to the green box. Let's do that, right? So I have just told you what we are looking for. So what I have done is I have looked for the first paper. So if I'm not able to get this paper, what I can do it, at least I can read the abstract. So this first paper talks about the systematic literature review. So luckily I have got this paper. I will show you this paper, what exactly it is. Let me see if I'm able to get this paper. SLR paper I'm already having, if I got it easily. Okay, anyways, doesn't matter. So first paper is not very important, but you can find out the factors from this, right? So, they have only talked about the factors. I have seen this paper. I've got the paper. I don't know kahan par it got mixed up into my studies. So, यहाँ पर लिखा है, let me, if I'm, look at this. What they have written is, overall, our findings highlight the crucial role of strengthening environmental preference among the bond market participants, including by suggesting that future bond pricing should consider non-economic motives of investors such as environmental preference or future growth implication, right? Environmental preferences. This is not very important paper, right? So let's move to the next paper, right? So let me open this paper, at least the abstract of this paper. This again paper is on Review of literature. We conducted a thorough review and development and consequences of the green bond. For sustainable development, the role of green bond is vital to finance projects. So this is again is not important. There is no model into this. So what does it talk about? To the best of our understanding, no literature review is conducted, okay, to meet the ESG objective. So this is again a different paper. This is on ESG. This is attempts to fill in the gap and classify studies based on and give a comprehensive overview of factors associated with green bonds. And they have related it with the ESG. Please understand, they have related it with ESG. So this is again not an important paper for us. There is no model. Next paper, let's open this paper, third paper. Next paper is what future, how can policymaker, company, investor unlock the potential of the green bond market? So just read we identify the current barriers. I think it's a theoretical paper. We can see, we can just scroll down from here and see the kind of the paper it is. This is their appendix A. No, this is also not very important. Can you see to this? Everyone is there with me now? Please be attentive right now. Next is the limits of green finance, a survey of literature in the green bonds and green finance. Sorry, green loans. This is again the paper that is not very important for us. Let's move to the another. Next, in market reaction to green bond issuance. This paper is on the secondary data. Let me open this paper. Let me open this paper. Market reaction to green bonds. This paper is based on the secondary data. Developing and largest, this is again a secondary market. Your stock returns from further analysis reveals positive announcements, stock returns. So this is again on a secondary data, right? So like this. So let's not move ahead more. So like this, what we have seen here is we could not find much papers. We could not find much papers on the green bonds, right? So what I have done is, so to make a model unique. So what I try to do is, let's say I want to see the investor, the green bonds are now available to the retail investor. Green bonds are now available to retail investor. Retail investor is you and me, a normal and common people, right? So we can also invest into the green bonds. So can we see, let me decide investor perception towards green bonds, right? It is a type of a bond. Let me tell you what exactly is a green bond in a very simple terms. Green bonds are the bonds where we invest, where the proceeds or proceeds of the money is invested into green products or green manufacturing. Like the money that has been collected is used in solar power plant, right? Let's say government wanted to construct a solar power plant in some area and they need money. So what they do is they issue the green bonds, right? So they issue the green bonds, and So what is a green bond? When somebody is issuing money from the general investor, the money invested into the green or green products or green manufacturing, that is a green bonds, right? So let's say I could not from here, before this also I tried to see, there is no study that has been done on the investor perception towards the green bond. So let's say I have decided this is my objective, right? So हमने क्या क्या देखा? So how did we go for it? So let's have a recap of what we have done is how we are designing the model. So what is the first step? Let's have a recap. What is the first step? Decide the topic that you want to work on. This is the topic. So what I did was, let me give you an example again here. That is the green box. This is my area, right? So I have decided that I have to work on green box. So what did I do? I search for review of literature, or I see the previous studies, right? Now the previous studies, you have to read it. You have to understand. You have to, what here you have to look out, because we have to prepare a questionnaire. So we are trying to look for a model, some kind of model, right? And look for a model, right? So, or the variables that has already been used. So we are looking for this, right? So once you have looked for this, then you design your objective and your model. So these are the steps. So design your objective and your model. So my now objective, what I have decided, I could see, okay, let me write down here. So what I could see from the review literature, most of the studies are based on stock market with green bonds. I have already seen this, right? But I have shown very less studies in front of you because we do not have much time. We can see all the studies, but I've already seen that, right? So most of the studies, they are based on the stock market with green bonds. So that is a secondary based study, right? And some papers are based on systematic literature review. So literature review. So these kind of studies, right? And primary study, very less primary studies are being conducted in India. This is going to be my research gap. Can you see research gap? If you write a research gap in your paper, so you can write it here like this. So this is for your research gap as well. So फिर यहाँ पर what is the next step? The next step is you design your objective and your model, right? So मैंने यहाँ पे what is the objective? Investor perception towards green bonds, or what are the factors that motivates the investor to invest in green bonds. So let's say this is the topic that I have decided now. Through the literature review, I could see there is a gap. So what I did, that next step is, so I have decided that I will work on to this topic now. Now I have to make a model, right? I have to make a model. So, the important thing is model building now. Model building. This is the next step. I hope everybody is with me. Please raise your hands if you are with me. All are with me and able to understand what I'm trying to tell you. Any questions or queries?
Yes, madam, I have one question. Arnav here.
Hanji.
Madam, see, this questionnaire that we are creating for a paper, right?
Hmm.
So this same approach would work for a PhD thesis?
Yes, exactly. Bilkul.
But the thesis would be much more comprehensive than a single paper.
So, this is one paper, this is one model that you are creating. You create 3 models the same way. You create 3 models out of this. So it will be a thesis according to the same. I'll tell you the model that we will design today, right? From this, you can, one paper can be, let me tell you one thing. What I normally do is, what I normally tell my student is, first objective is to find out the variables. Find out the variables with the help of SLR. So this is the first thing that I tell my students to do. This is the first thing. So this paper, first objective will be your SLR, right? Second objective, I'll show you कैसे आप कर सकते हो इसको. Like जैसे you can see from here. So this is a paper, right? So this is a paper. So you can divide this into two parts as well. You see, model ko you can use it twice. So you can make a second and third objective with the help of this, right? Or you can, what you can do is you can use some another tools, like you can do conjoint analysis. There is a conjoint analysis, any other technique that you can do. So it becomes 4 questions of your thesis. I hope it is clear. Or you can design 2 or 3 models as well. If you want to go for an elaborate study, so what you can do is you can make 2-3 models out of it as well. Right?
Ma'am, there is one question. Madam, I have published so many Scopus journals as well as Web of Science journal. But in such kind of papers, I never used such kind of models. So many questionnaires were used. So is there any
You must be
requirement?
using, no. You must be using the secondary data study. Here, what I'm trying to tell you is a questionnaire design on the primary database. आप इसमें SLR, but that is again on the secondary data. My topic here is questionnaire designing. So how do you design a model and a questionnaire? This is a very, very important thing, you know, when you are doing your thesis, even when you are writing the paper, so you must try to do that. लेकिन अगर आप secondary data पे काम कर रहे हो, तो that is not required. But in some cases, that is also required. I hope it is clear.
Shalini ma'am, I have a small doubt.
Hanji.
So the scope of this webinar or this workshop would be, we would be understanding how to adapt existing scales for the variables that we have
Yes.
identified, and how do we
Yes.
modify it to our specific topic.
Yes. Right.
Okay. And in case we have more than 2 scales or different papers have used different versions of questions, then how would we finalize on our set of questions?
What you can do is, I'll tell you, Usha ji, I'll tell you about this. Let's do that later on. है ना?
Okay.
We'll talk about
Would
this
that be covered today or tomorrow?
today itself.
Today.
I'll
itself.
tell you how to go for it. EFA you have to use now. You take
Okay.
all the, if you want, like, chalo, okay, I'll tell you later on, right?
Okay.
We'll
Right.
design the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it is clear till here, right? So, or Sachin ji, if you have any doubt, any question beyond this, we can talk later on as well. If you want a in-depth
ma'am.
analysis of this, we can go for it. You have,
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
there's a number of mine, and you can always call me and talk to me, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Right.
ma'am.
Okay. So we were like, okay. So my was model building, right? So what I'm trying to do today is a model building and then design a questionnaire with the help of it, right? So now, when we are talking about the investor perception, right? Or what are the factors that motivates the investor to invest in the green bonds, right? So, so what we will be doing is, like, we do not have any scales for green bond. We have to understand this as such. Okay, now let me tell you here about 2 things. There is a variables, like, okay, let me tell you this. Now this is a diagram. This is a model. So these are the variables. These are the variables, right? So these variables, we already have a scales for it. This is an important concept that I wanted to tell you before proceeding ahead. So what I'm trying to tell you is like, let me show you this. Let me give you an example onto this now. This is one paper. Okay, so please understand these are the variables, right? So these variables are already having validated, and we have statements for each variable, right? So what I'm trying to tell you, so these variables that we have taken, like sense of scarcity, sense of uncertainty, social media addiction, panic, like this. So these are the variables. These are the variables means it already has a scale. Scales means what? Let me show you this. Okay, let's say this. Look at this. This is one variable of my study, that is sense of scarcity. So it has these much of statements. I want each one of you to read this. I want only these items के नीचे, just read it. This is the most important thing, you know, when the students, they are going for their PhD or when they're writing the papers, sometimes they don't understand. So what is the most important thing is like, you have to use the scales that has already been validated. So this is sense of scarcity. This is a variable. So it has different items. My favorite products are almost out of stock when I wanted to purchase them. There was only a limited number of my favorite products on the rack. So this is sense of scarcity. So what is my next? Sense of uncertainty. The certainty that the COVID-19 may cause emotional risk to me is. So let me tell you now, go to this, look at this now. Here. This is a topic. This is my paper that got accepted only recently. So what are the scales that we have used? It is writing sense of scarcity has 6 items. And from whose scale, from whose authors we have taken this sense of scarcity variable, this, and it has 6 items. 6 items means this. Please understand, this is one variable that has 6 items. This is what will be written. This is the first thing. Let's say if we are making a model this, right? Let's say this is our model now. So what will be our questionnaire? Our questionnaire will be like sense of scarcity, right? So this is already validated scale. It has 6 questions. So what will be one of the 6 questions in my questionnaire will be, these 6 statements will be my questions into the questionnaire. Are you able to understand, participants? Please raise your hands. Or should I repeat this again? Should I repeat this again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me repeat this again. Let me tell you what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, let's say I go to this. This is a Google Scholar account. I type Google Scholar and this is, let's say I wanted to find out a scale on social factors scale. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? Let me tell you this thing also. Now, there are many papers that has come up. This is the most important thing. Okay, before doing this, let me tell you this. Let's say this is a variable, social media addiction. This is one variable, right? So, you know, these are the 2 authors who has made the scale onto this. They have developed the scale onto this. These are 2 authors This is one paper. So what they have done is, this is on social media addiction. So what they have done is, they have tested, like they, first of all, what they have done is, they have designed a questionnaire, or they have designed a statements. These statements they designed, and they got it validated from different people, EFA and CFA, SPSS tools, they use it, and they declare that their paper is, they have constructed a scale. This is a scale they have constructed. So let's say this scale, sense of scarcity, who has constructed this scale already? These are the people who have already worked on these scales. Just say, let me give you another example. There is a scale on effective commitment. There is a scale on effective commitment. Let me see if I can get a paper onto this. Take a minute. Effective commitment scale by Allen and Mayer, right? So let me open this paper. No, I'm not able to open this scale. So what exactly they do is, let me tell you this thing. Yehi say I'll tell you, I'm not able to open that. So what I'm trying to tell you, this is a variable and it has this much of statements, right? So let's say this, there is a paper that I have written. Let's say I have written a paper on sense of scarcity, and I have made a scale. These scales will form a part of the questionnaire. So similarly, let's say this is a social media addiction scale, so they have given certain statements. Look at this. This is the paper, right? So they have given a scale. They have designed statements, right? And matlab, there is a variable. It means there is a variable that has statements that has been validated, and you can use it in your papers. Like sense of scarcity is one variable which has statements like this. It has statements like this. These are the statements. It has statements like this. And these has the statements like this, right? So if you're using a model like this, if you're using a model like this, so this means you are using this variable along with its statements. These statements is to be validated. This statements, sense of scarcity is only a variable. This is only a variable. It has to be, when you design a questionnaire. So how will you design a questionnaire? Sense of scarcity, you will write into your questionnaire. Here, what you will do is, you will write sense of scarcity. Let's say this is your questionnaire, right? So you will be giving these statements to the different people, and you will tell them to rate it, right? You will tell them to rate it. Strongly disagree, neutral, agree, or strongly agree. This is your questionnaire. Please understand, this will be your questionnaire. A part of the questionnaire. If you are designing this model, so what will be your questionnaire? So your questionnaire will be, these are only the variables. Variables means what? It has different statements. Let's say it has 6 statements. That will become a part of the questionnaire like this. So it will be, let's say, it has 5-point scale. Scale means, like, how will you measure this statement? How will you measure the statement? The response of the human beings. So you have a scale that says strongly disagree, neutral, agree, and strongly agree. Are you able to understand this, what I'm trying to tell you? Please raise your hands. ये सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Okay. Just give me a minute break. Can I take a 1 minute break, please? I wanted a minute break.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay. So let me start again. Let me show you this. This is the thesis of one of my students. Look at this. Her work is on impact investing. Or let me show you the another rosy thesis. This is comparatively easy. Okay. Look at this. So what she has done is, let me just open her another paper as well. Thesis. Her model was a very simple model, but this is another paper of my student. Her thesis was on, let me tell you. Okay. Her paper was on effective commitment. Okay, organizational support. Let me tell you what her model was. Organizational support, personal factor, social factors leads to, यहाँ पर है, there is a that is effective commitment. So let me tell you how it's like this. It's like this. It leads to effective commitment. So, you know, now what I'm trying to tell you, like how you are going to validate this model of yours. This is one model of my student. How will you validate this, right? So it has a scale. Let me show you how does the scale comes out to be. This is her questionnaire. So what she has done is, look at this. Okay. Household factors. This is one of the factor or the personal factors. This is a model. So what is the questionnaire? So these are the variables. Please understand, these are the variables. These are the three independent variables that is affecting the dependent variable. Effective commitment means in an organization, there will be effective commitment if there is an organizational support, personal support, or social support. So these are the factors that impacts the affective commitment. Now, you want to judge this relationship in your study, right? So what you will do is you will use a questionnaire. So how will you design that questionnaire, right? So you will be designing, it has a statement. Every questionnaire has a statements, right? So you can see from here, let me show you this. Subjective well-being, or this is the, let's say, first factor. So just look at this. So it has certain statements. These statements you will be giving to the people, and this will become a part of your questionnaire. So this is a questionnaire. Look at this. This is a questionnaire, right? Above this, when you are designing a questionnaire, so first is, what is the first thing that you will be writing? The demographic profile. When we are designing the questionnaire, we'll talk about this later. First of all, let's understand the variables, right? So these are the demographic profile that more or less remains the same. So what is important now? So what is important here is the variables and the statements that you have to write. Look at this. Inquiries pertaining to subjective well-being that influence the work-life balance of female corporate in Punjab on a 5-point Likert scale, measuring from this to this. It means strongly agree. So these has this much of statements, this one variable. What is the one variable? So let's say, like this is one variable. This is one variable, this is another, right? So in this again, this is one variable, second, third, and this is fourth variable. So how will you write the questionnaire? So questionnaire will be like this on a 5-point scale. Most of the questionnaire are on 5-point scale, 7-point scale as well. So this is the statements. So you will be giving the statements to the people, and they will take either on to this, or this, either of this, right? So let's say this is on subjective well-being. In most ways, my life is very similar to my ideals. My circumstances are good. I'm content with my life. So this is one variable, statements. These are the statements of one variable. Let's say this is one variable. This is one variable. This is the model. This is one variable, and these are the statements of the one variable. These are the statements of one variable on a 5-point Likert scale, right? So you will be writing this one variable. Next, another variable is this, household factors, right? So these are the statements, and it is on a 5-point Likert scale. These are the statements, right? What is the third? Third, let's say, this is the next, organizational support on a 5-point Likert scale. So these are the statements. So this is the next, this will become the next thing in your questionnaire, right? Next, what is here is important. This is the affective commitment, right? Affective commitment, these are on a 5-point scale, and these are the statements. These are the statements that we have tested, right? So this becomes your questionnaire. Ye sara, whatever variables you are taking, let's say these are the variables, and these are the variables, So what will become the questionnaire? Let me tell you, let's say all these statements, can you see here, these items? My questionnaire will be this, the whole of this statements. These are the statements that will become a part of my questionnaire. Ye sara. This will become a questionnaire of my for this paper. Right now, what I'm trying to tell you was these statements that you are using in your questionnaire, right? We are using certain validated scales, validated variables that has already been validated. So what I was trying to show you later on was, I was with the help of this paper, social media addiction, for one variable, some author must have written these statements and validated this. This is what I'm trying to tell you is the statements that we are writing here, all these statements. somebody has worked onto this variable, a single paper he must have written. He must have written that single paper and validated these statements, and you can use it after that. So this paper, what I'm trying to show you is this paper, social media addiction. This paper, you just read the abstract. Look at this. Just read the purpose of this. Till here. यहाँ से यहाँ तक. Everybody, please go through this. Till here. The one that I have highlighted. Everybody, please read this. Everybody has read this?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you got this? So what you have got this is like these variables that you use in your models, it is scales, and that has already been validated and you can use it further. So this is what is there, right? So now designing a model is very, very important, right? So let's come back to here. Let's come back here to our model. Abhi humne kya karna? Model building, right? So I was trying to build a model for this. So do you want me to, would you like to see how to build a model now? Let me, okay, so what I have done is here, what is our topic? Let me just close it down. Give me a, let me just close it down. Just give me a minute. Okay. So now let's understand, so what we have to do is, what is the topic now? What do we want to research on now? So we want to see the investor, what are the factors that motivates the investor to invest in green bonds, right? So can it be a social factors? Can it be a personal factors? Can it be a financial knowledge, environmental concern? Or what we can do is, when I try to find out, so what I did was investor motivation to invest in stocks. This is what I typed it here, right? What I did was, because I wanted, I cannot find a scale. I could see from the previous papers when I was trying to see, so I could not find from the previous papers, the papers on the green bond. So what I tried to do, like it is an investment, right? And what are the factors that motivates, right? So what I did was investor motivation to invest in stocks, Dana, because we have a lot many papers onto this, right? So I tried to see the factors. So what I did was I typed this, right? And I find out these many papers. Let me take you to this here. I'm giving a very, very, I'm telling you all the steps that I have taken to do this, right? So let me see here. This is on page, where I've taken it. Let me see. Let me go back to this 10th page. Okay, now look at this. Let me increase the font size for you. Okay, now look at this. This is the model. There is a model in this paper, right? There is a model in this paper. Let me show you the model even. Show you the model here. I hope you are able to understand now. I'll create a model in front of you right now. This is the paper. Let me open this for you. Okay. This is the diagram they have made into this paper. Let me increase the font size. Look at this. Can you see? So what is the model into this paper? This is the model. This is on renewable energy. ये paper जो निकाला था, the paper that I've got this is consumer intention to invest into the renewable energy. So can these factors go into our paper? Can these factors go into our paper? Yes. So what are the factors they have taken here? This is on renewable energy, not green bonds, right? So what I have done is I have put different combinations here. Here, these papers I've got it from here, Google Scholar. Please understand Google Scholar, that also helps you very much, right? So this paper that I've got from the Google Scholar, and this is one of the paper, willingness to pay for renewable energy. So these are the factors they have: environmental concern, perceived behavior control, subject. This is the model that they have used for the renewable energy, not for the green bonds. So can I use this model? Yes, I can use this model. I can just note down the variables they have taken. So what I will do is like social factors, personal factor, financial knowledge, and environmental concern. Again, let me tell you, whenever you are constructing a model for yourself, right? So what you can do is you can also do the same work. Make use of more and more use of the Google Scholar, right? And look at this. What I have done is I have tried to copy this model here and try to see what are the variables they have taken, and what is the next important thing, to see the scale. These statements, what are the different statements that they have used, and can these statements be used by us or not? This is also very, very important part that we have to check. Can we use these statements? If yes, just note down the variables, right? So just read this, like attitude. In my daily life is useful to protect the environment. Household energy saving is a wise action to reduce carbon emission, is valuable to. So this is an attitude. So can I take this attitude factor as well? Environmental concern. Just note down the factors here along with the scales. Please understand these scales. These are these statements. This is also very, very important, right? And now let me take you here to the. I'm trying to tell you something important. If it is there into this paper में शायद नहीं था, but otherwise. Scales where they have taken from. Look at this here. These are the variables they have taken, and they have shown you. This is very, very important. Please note down. You have to be very, very this, where they have taken the scale from subjective norm, Nye et al. 2019. This is very important, and you have to give this in your paper. The scales or the variables that you are taking from which author's paper. The perceived behavior control was assessed using the 3 items adopted from Van and Shen. Descriptive norm were measured using the 3 items using this. Moral responsibility, household intention. So this is very, very important. Please look into this also into the papers. you need to check out this, where they have taken the scales, right? And you just note it down, like these factors that you have taken from which paper. Note down the paper number. Give this paper a number, let's say one paper, right? And then these are the factors, right? So let's move to the another paper. I'll tell you, there are some good papers. These are the factors. Let me take to you. This is another paper that I've opened, and page 9th and 10th take you to this. Okay, this is again another paper. They have the variables. Look at this. Risk taking propensity, financial knowledge, preference for innovation. So can you write these variables also? Just note it down here. So this is from paper 2, right? So note it down. This is paper 2. Save this also from the paper 2. So what are the variables that I'm taking from here? That is preference for innovation. Next variable, what is that variable? Risk taking propensity. So you can write it risk taking propensity, right? So this is from paper 2. And just understand, they are taking it for what is the paper all about. Please understand this. Investment intention in Indian stock market. So, can you use this for your green bond? Because that, what we have seen from the literature, investor perception or the factors that motivates the investor is not being searched for. So that is why you are making use of these variables, right? Next है personal, social or family factors. So this is paper that talks about the factors. This is not very good paper. Let me take it to another paper. Psychological factors. This is page number 6 and 8. Okay. Look at this. This again, there is a factors, that psychological factors. You can see from here. You have to see which are the factors that is fitting into your objective, right? I'm just trying to tell you, like, how do we go for it? Next is the social factors. So this is another scale that has been given over here. I would prefer to sell stocks if I find many people quitting from it. So this is on the social factors. So you have to see, so just note it down here as the social factors. We have already written this. Next, what is important here? Investment decision. So these are the scale, these are the statements for this variable investment decision. So you can write here, this is the investment decision, right? Or the papers you can see, right? There is another paper that is on environmental concern. Okay, environmental factors. Let me take you to that. This is another paper. Let's go to 10th page of this. Look at this. This is a good paper. It talks about environmental concern. No, it talks about purchase behavior, pro-environmental purchase behavior. Why do I go for the, why do I behave, why do I purchase?
Ma'am, you're not audible.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry,
Yes, ma'am.
मेरा कनेक्शन में प्रॉब्लम आ गई थी. कितनी देर के लिए गया है कनेक्शन? मुझे नहीं पता लगा.
Almost
I
2-3
think
minutes,
1 or
ma'am.
2 minutes, ma'am.
अच्छा, okay, not much time, है ना? So you are able to understand what I'm saying right now? सबको समझ में आ रहा है? Hello?
Ma'am, it went off when you were showing that environmental factors.
अच्छा, okay, let me see to it. Okay. Okay, the environmental factors. Okay. So this is a scale on environmental factors. Environmental purchase behavior, pro-environmental purchase behavior, environmental consumption. This is on scale onto this. Another is, let me take you to the another scale on environmental attitude. Let me open this. Okay, this is another good paper. Okay, environmental attitude. So this is another paper. So can you see to this journal environmental attitude, recycling behavior? Like this. There are statements out here into this, right? So now let me show you what we can design with the help of this. Let me show you the final model. Or I can design as well right now in front of you. So what we have done is, let's say this is the social factors. Please switch off your mic, financial knowledge. Yay, all these factors. Let me take these factors, right? So can we have it here? Investor intention to invest in green bonds. Mhm. So what I'm trying to tell you is here. Can you make a model like this? this one tag arrow. So another arrow. So it's another. So you can keep as many as variables you can, right? This is one thing, right? 8 minutes. Let me show you. 8. इसके बाद also what you can do is, why did we go for it? Can you write it here again? Let me this. Why do we go for it? Can I write it here as one variable of mine as environmental concern? Take a minute. Just give me a minute. This thing I wanted to show you in one go. Can we make a model like this? वो ये कहाँ से नीचे चले गए क्या? 8 minutes. ओहो what I'm trying to do is, let me put it here. So what I'm trying to do is here is like this is the model that we can make. अब इसके आगे भी अभी और कुछ कर सकते हैं. What we can do is we can again do something here. Can we make a model like this? Again, what we can do is like this is a technical model. यहाँ पर we can take some other factors, social factors. It has been removed. Social factors or n number of factors that you can take. With this also, what you can do is like you can take the mediators and moderators as well. Let's say what are the mediators and moderators you can take? Let me show you this. यहाँ पर what we can write here is moderators में हम क्या ले सकते हैं? What we can take into moderators है age. This is one moderator. Another moderator can be gender, income, group. No, sorry, age, gender, right? Something like that. And we can take the mediator as well. You know, we can take the mediator as well here. So let's say the mediators that we can take here over here is mediators. हम क्या ले सकते हैं? या यहाँ पर should I write it down? This is, let's say, moderator. And what are the different mediators that we can take? So this is the model that I've already designed, you know, before. So यहाँ पर what we can write is, that is religious value and commitment. Let's say this is a moderator and these are the mediators. So this is a model that we can develop. And how do we develop the model? So we can, with the help of this, like Google Scholar, please make more and more use of the Google Scholar to make your model, right? So Google Scholar page, this is a very important search engine. यहाँ पर you can type social factor scale, political factor scale. So whatever scale you want to find out, you just type the factor that you want to find out and the scale for it. So it will come out from this. So let's say, let me tell you, how did I go for it? So let's say, look at this. So there are a number of papers that has come out, right? And you can open the PDF files or you can use these files as well. And so with the help of this, let me show you my final model that I have already made. Model for the questionnaire. Please understand this. Look at this. Now, this is what I have already made for the green ones. So you can write it here as the these are the moderators and these are the mediators. Moral responsibility, religious value and commitments. यहाँ पर, so like this, you can go for this, right? So, and you know what will be a questionnaire? Your questionnaire will be this is a variable, right? So variable has statements. So when you are designing your questionnaire, so let me tell you once again, thesis. Okay, I have lost it. So what will be your questionnaire? Your questionnaire will be this much only. Let me take you. So this is your final questionnaire. This is your final questionnaire. So first of all, you have to write about the demographic profile. You need to know about the demographic profile of a person. So here comes the demographic profile, right? And what comes next? The variables that you have selected here, the statements of the variables that you have selected here with the 5-point or 7-point, whatever the scale you want to ask the questions on. So you will be giving this questionnaire to the people and get it filled from them. So this is a questionnaire. I hope it is clear to all. सबको समझ में आया?
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
हाँ जी.
You were talking about mediating and moderating variables and picking these up from the literature review.
Okay.
So if in literature you find that a specific variable has extensively been used as a moderator, and you from again different papers can establish that it can be used in mediator in your situation and a scale does not exist for it, what do we do?
No, we cannot take that. Huh? If a scale only exists, then only you can take.
Then only you can take it. Otherwise, moderator.
Because it will not have a look. It does not have a statement like so. Like moderators में तो age हो गया, like this हो गया ना. That is only
So most
demographic
demographic variables are taken as moderators, but if I want to take a non-demographic variable as a moderator, and it is a
it depends on
binary variable, it is a
Actually,
binary variable. Then
no. What is binary? Achha,
meaning
either
a yes or no. Huh.
So, madam, what is mediator and moderator that you need to check out first? Mediator, the difference between the two that you need to check
that
out.
I understand. That I understand.
Okay. So what like?
So one question, madam.
Hanji.
See, till now we have done literature review, found scales from different places, etc. Now, if the variable is completely new, so then we have to create the items in the scale by ourselves. How do we do that?
No. If you will do that, your paper will not be accepted. You have to find out, you have to take only those variables that is only there. Or if you have to create a variable that normally paper does not get accepted in a very good journal. That is for sure. Like let me give an example onto this. We are working on one paper and that is on green marketing. So first of all, we are trying to use the variables that does not have a scale. So what did we do is like we first develop a paper on those green variables जो भी था हमारा green variables के जो factors थे तो उसके बाद only we can use it if you want a paper to be accepted in a very good journal like
but the first time you are using a new variable, you have to create the scale for yourself, isn't it?
No, you cannot create a scale. आप कैसे scale में तो आपको scale development का paper दिखाया है ना sir? I have shown you the paper, scale development paper itself. आप वो variables लोगे ही नहीं जिसका scale नहीं है if you want to publish it into a good journal. But if you want to publish into a okay journal, Scopus and all that, then it will go like that. But normally we have to take a paper. We have to take a scale that is already established.
But then we are copying pasting, right? We are not doing anything new.
Yes. No. Look, I told you, you are taking a like जैसे यहाँ पर what I have done is like I have created a like this model. So these variables, they already have a scale validation.
Correct. That I understand.
Let me complete. So what you are trying to see is you are trying to set up a new relationship between two variables.
Correct.
Like sense. let me complete, sir. So this is what exactly you do. Nothing new or old. So this is what exactly we do in research.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Thank you, Swati.
Ma'am, actually, can we modify the statements according to our research?
A little bit, yes, you can do that. Not much, but a little bit. जैसे
Like
अब
you have
investor
shown the
perception,
renewable.
जैसे investor perception towards the green bonds, if we are talking about, right? So वो they have taken it for the stock market. So we are using it for the green bonds. So like this.
Yeah,
Excuse
but
me, ma'am.
then, sorry, just one last question. See, then you cannot, basically we are saying that in a paper, you cannot do really original work.
So this is an original. This is what is called as an original work in the paper itself. This is what is called as an original work. So इसके beyond I do not know. मतलब क्योंकि everybody is doing the same thing like this. Scale validation is there, but you are trying to see into your country, into your perspective, the relationship between the two variables with the help of mediating and moderating effect. This is what I think you are new to the research. This is what I can feel, Arnab ji.
Yeah, of course, because then somebody, like, let's say somebody comes up with an absolutely new idea. How do they test that idea?
Ma'am, Shalini ma'am, can I interrupt, please?
Yes, Aditi, yes.
Yeah. So, Arnab sir, I would like to answer on behalf of Shalini ma'am that there is a scale development. You can develop your own scale if you are so interested.
मैंने वही बताया. This is what I've already told. Social addiction, media addiction का scale. This is what I've
if
already
you are
shown.
so interested, you can develop your own scale, then get it validated, and then you can go for original research. Nothing like it.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Hanji Jitendra ji.
Ma'am, just to encapsulate what you said, I'm just reiterating so that my understanding is correct.
Yes.
What you said, first you do the SLR, then you look at various papers.
Yes.
Try to step
find
number
out the
one,
models.
find out the models.
Sorry, variables. Sorry, models and
models
variables.
भी आएगा पहले. तो models आपने रख लिए. Then models के बाद आपने models में से आपने variables निकाल लिए.
Yes.
अब इसमें एक question है. अब because you are also finding the gaps, so variables तो आपके पास आ गए, but there will be certain gaps which are not fulfilled by those variables.
नहीं मतलब समझ में आया कैसे?
Okay. अब आपने 3-4 मॉडल निकाल लिए. अब वो 3-4 मॉडल्स में वेरिएबल्स हैं. राइट. नाउ बट वो जो चारों मॉडल्स आपने निकाले हैं वो किसी पेपर से निकाले हैं. अब उस पेपर में आफ्टर रीडिंग द पेपर यू आइडेंटिफाई कि नहीं यार इसमें कुछ गैप है. I'll take an example. For example, I want to do some study on how do what are the critical success factors which help entrepreneurs to succeed in the field of financial services in India. Now, assuming that this study has been done in USA, China, and other places, but not in India. So I will find models which are available in those countries.
Yes, we can do that.
Right? And the gap is this has not been done in India. Now those variables को मैं लेके, I will create the table and I will create questionnaire.
Yes.
Already been created and I'll validate them in India.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes. Good, great. Yeah.
Got it.
So, ma'am, change in geography or change in sample, is it a novelty enough for publication?
मैम आप देखिए ना थोड़ा सा उसमें क्वेश्चन है डिजाइन. अब आप there is a मैंने अभी आपको ये सोशल मीडिया एडिक्शन दिखाया पेपर अभी है ना. This is a scale development paper and they have written that what they have written is यहाँ पर research gap मतलब purpose में उन्होंने normally ये दिखाया है. They have done it into the India scenario. The paper has already been constructed on the social media addiction.
The scale has been there. They have only adapted to the Indian circumstances.
No. उन्होंने कुछ और स्टेटमेंट्स को भी ऐड किया और कुछ भी जो उनको ठीक लगता है उन्होंने पुरानी स्टेटमेंट्स को स्टडी किया और जो उनको लगता है कि ठीक नहीं था और उसको मॉडल उसको चेंज करके फिर उन्होंने अपना एक स्केल डेवलप किया.
So would this be called a contribution to literature or any addition to theory? Would this come to
मैम ये स्केल डेवलपमेंट का पेपर है ना. दिस इज अ पेपर ऑन स्केल डेवलपमेंट. यस.
So it will
they
be
have developed a scale. Yes, ma'am. ये paper published है ना मैम. देखिए आप खुद ही. I have shown you this paper only ना. Yes.
But simply same questionnaire in some foreign situations
no,
being
try
adapted
to
to
make
India
a
is.
no, try to. आप क्या कह रहे हैं मैम कि आपने एक स्टडी करी है जो बाहर यूएसए में है और आप इंडिया में करना चाह रहे हो, तो मैम उसके अंदर आप थोड़ा सा तो चेंज करोगे ना अपना. You will make a change in some part of it. Yes, you have to do that only to get the.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, just a question.
हाँ जी.
हाँ मैम, जैसे just now said that if you are doing the same research, अगर आप यूएस में कर रहे हो और उसको आप इंडिया में लेना है या इंडिया में कर यूएस में करना है, तो you have to change it, like you have to acclimatize, some adjustment करना पड़ेगा.
Yes, yes.
तो actually इसके हम क्या, what parameters are we going to consider for this change?
It depends from your study to study. That is what you have to see. आपको देखना पड़ेगा ये, या you need to check out. अगर आप कोई study लेके आए, then we can discuss about it. Right now.
हाँ, yes ma'am. मैम अगर कोई स्टडी जैसे कि लाइक ऑलरेडी एक स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड टूल है मेरे पास और वो स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड टूल किसी और कंट्री में बना हुआ है एंड आई वांट टू पुट इट इन इंडिया.
टूल मतलब
लाइक कोई भी क्वेश्चनियर है, जैसे अभी डैश 42 का एक स्केल है, डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी, स्ट्रेस का.
स्केल की बात कर रहे हो या उसकी बात, स्केल डेवलपमेंट की बात?
क्वेश्चनियर है मैम, क्वेश्चनियर है.
हाँ,
तो वो ऑलरेडी बनी हुई है.
आपके नहीं आपका नहीं, आप उसके अंदर एक मॉडल बनाओ ना, एक मॉडल, न्यू मॉडल बनाओ ना, उसमें कोई नए वेरिएबल्स को लेके आओ ना. वेरिएबल्स लाइक दिस ना, जैसे ये वेरिएबल्स है राइट, इस वेरिएबल पे स्केल डेवलप है. आपके पास ऑलरेडी जो स्केल डेवलप है वो एक वेरिएबल पे है ना, तो आप कुछ ऐसे रिलेशनशिप ये डिफरेंट वेरिएबल्स के अंदर फाइंड आउट करो ना, जिससे आपका न्यूनेस आ जाए.
ओके.
वेरिएबल्स के साथ स्टेटमेंट्स ऑलरेडी हैं आपकी.
जी मैम. वेरिएबल्स, लेकिन जैसे मैंने भी कहा कि जो डैश स्केल है तो उसमें डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी, स्ट्रेस, ये चीजें तो कवर्ड है ऑलरेडी. सो एम आई सपोज टू गेट अ न्यू वेरिएबल अलोंग विद दिस?
Yes. अगर if you why do you go for a literature review? You go for a literature review only for this purpose, na, that you wanted something new into it.
Yes. Okay, yeah, ma'am. Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Hanji, any other question? I hope it is clear.
Good evening, ma'am. I have a question.
Yes, Janet.
Ma'am, now see, if the variables are identified from the literature and if there are no, some variables may not have statements given in the literature, can we put the statement based on the observation or from in-depth?
We have to find out from the actual paper or from the, actually it will be in the methodology part. You have to check this out. Like in the papers, there's a methodology section. Every author has to mention it there from which author he has taken the scale. So what you can do is you go to the references section and then you put that paper. Are you able to, like, let me tell you this. This is a model. Let me, what I'm trying to tell you is here. Just give me a minute. If it is not given, there is a place like references may you can go and then you can find it out. Yeah. No, this is not. Just give me a minute. मतलब what you can do is like कोई भी paper है ना आपका, तो उसके methodology part में you go into the methodology part. There will be a name of the author from which he has taken the scale. You open that paper and then you'll find that scale from there.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. But if you develop, if I develop a scale based on the observation focus, I have to do that iterator and content validity.
Yes.
And then I can
yes.
The,
if you want a new scale, you can do that by yourself as well. You can. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other query?
Ma'am, when we modify the statements according to our research, then we can call it still the standardized scale, or
Yes.
we
A
again
little
have
bit you
to
can modify it, but not much. Yes.
okay, ma'am.
Is it clear? Is it समझ आया सभी को? Is it clear to all? Please raise your hands. Usha ji, if you want to discuss anything, we can talk personally, and to Sachin as well. If you people want to discuss something, we can discuss in one-to-one. You can call me as well. Let me, if you want, you can note down my number. Usha ji, are you there? And Sachin as well.
Yes, ma'am. Please share your number.
Okay, let me, what I can do is, Aditi, what I can do is I'll tell Rajkumar sir to put my number onto the WhatsApp group itself and let this group be open for discussions, right? So we can
Yes,
do that.
ma'am.
Yes,
That will
I'll
be
tell
very
him.
helpful. That will be very helpful.
Okay, I'll tell him, right? And we can have a discussion. Thank you so much, and we'll meet tomorrow. Fine? Okay, bye. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.